It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work doing 3 mules. Ooh, Jake. Jake. Ooh. Ooh. My name is Rinker Buck. I'm a writer from New England. I grew up on a horse farm, and I just always dreamed of riding a covered wagon all the way across the Oregon Trail. And then I read somewhere, no one's crossed the Oregon Trail in a wagon in 100 years. Then I called all the experts and they said, oh, it can't be done anymore. There's highways now. And I'm just the kind of person that's like, they say to me, well, it can't be done. You can't do it. And I go, I'm doing it. And I think it was sort of a combination midlife crisis, wanting to realize that dream. And then my brother and I went on the Oregon Trail like last summer. Get up, team, get up.
One of the greatest land migrations in history began in the 1840s with the Oregon Trail. By that time, half of the United States were settled and farmland was getting sparse. More than 400,000 pioneers came across the Great Desert in covered wagons in search for rich lands on the West Coast. After more than 1,000 miles, the trail split. Prospectors and adventurers went south to California in search for gold. Farmers continued north on the Oregon Trail. Some pioneers simply settled along the way, like in Soda Springs, Idaho.
I'm Kevin Andrus. I live and work here on Andrus Ranch on Old Oregon Trail Road in Idaho.
My name is Ken Andrus. I live on the Andrus Ranch.
I'm Jim Andrus. I live on the Andrus Ranch. Our parents bought this place. We've lived here ever since, ranching.
I am Tanya Andrus Fuller. I'm the oldest of Ken and Colleen's 8 children. We moved back to the ranch about 3 years ago with my family. Growing up, we had such a sense of identity as being here on the Andrus Ranch. I know that one of my brothers and sisters will continue on with the ranch, and that's very important to us.
Our father's grandfather was a Mormon pioneer, and they emigrated from the Midwest, from Nauvoo, Illinois, to Utah. Utah is the place they should settle and make the desert blossom as a rose, which they did. And southern Idaho, where we live, is kind of an extension of Utah.
Although you might not be able to tell because I'm not wearing my cowboy hat, but I am a cowboy. I'm not as good a cowboy as Uncle Jim.
Life isn't worth living if you can't ride a horse. We have about 350 cows, and we have about 300 to 350 sheep, and we have about 20 horses, and we have some chickens.
There's also the lambs, and there's the bucks.
So yeah, there's 300 to 350 ewes, and right now there's about almost 500 lambs that they've had this year, plus almost 200 lambs from the year previous. So add that up, and you've got 1,000.
A lot of work and a lot of exercise, but we're not getting rich. But we've not missed any meals.
And one thing that you do on a farm like this is people learn to work. You don't have to teach our kids to work. Work is a necessity, and they just naturally learn it. And that's a good trait to have when you go into life on your own.
I want to ranch, and I would come back here if there's room for me. If not, I'll find another ranch to work for.
But there is something about feeling a connection to the land. Not only our living depends upon it, but we are connected to it.
We are environmentalists. Our family is environmentalists, as are most people in agriculture, most farmers and ranchers. We leave our place better than when we found it.
This was just desert and
They-
sagebrush,
Sagebrush.
ugly.
They wanted to go to Oregon because that was the end of the rainbow, and here is just part way, and it's mountains and steep, and not, the winters are hard. We get a lot of snow and a lot of frost, and the summers are short.
So it's more pioneering and a harder life than my perception of what is in Oregon.
In 1852, the land promoters are no different than the land promoters today. They said, come to Oregon. The pigs are as big as cattle, okay? The onions are as big as cantaloupes, blah, blah, blah. And people, we gotta go. But everybody knew that the land was very fertile in Oregon, but you had to cross 2,000 miles of desert to get there. My brother, he's a very good team driver. How many people have that ability? We weren't trying to be reenactors or anything like that. If the Oregon Trail is now a highway, if it's Route 30, we're taking the trail, And that's what I like, is it's a living thing. It's a living monument to what the pioneers did. It's not this dead, static museum, 2 ruts through the ground. No, they built the railroads there too. They built the highways there. People think of it as this single set of ruts going across the West. No, it was one big matrix of trails. And people were cutting off this way and the other.
Over time, the pioneers discovered easier routes and better shortcuts. Years later, the railroad simply followed those paths. Settlements grew around the tracks. One town grew to become the railroad hub of Idaho, Shoshone, named for the Indian tribe that once lived here. But rail traffic declined, and today most of the trains just pass through.
When I was growing up, we didn't have the arms. There was always a train on the track, slow moving. We would crawl under the train, and if we'd rode our bike, we'd drag our bike under there to get back to school on time. I'm Davida Dilly Whitesell, and I grew up here in Shoshone. And this is Main Street, the widest main street in the USA.
Lee Kelly from Shoshone. I've lived here since 1941, and I kind of like this place. I've been all over the United States, and I'm still here, mainly because I haven't got enough money to move away. This is a 1929 Model A Ford. It's $495 brand new. It's fun to drive. Put my grandkids in the rumble seat, take them out and get ice cream, and we sit on the running board and eat ice cream cones. Nobody gets to do that anymore. There used to be 7 railroad tracks on this crossing and 5 on that one. I'd like to see it get back up so there's a little more businesses on Main Street here. And there used to be 7 bars in Shoshone, and there's only 1 now. So.
My dad was the barber here, and his barber shop's right over there. Now it's a beauty salon. Well, change in the people. We have a lot of Hispanics now, which are wonderful people, but it's different.
Shoshone it's called the bedroom community in a lot of ways because we don't have a lot of commerce here, and so we have to go away to work. When you don't want to be a ghost town, you work to not be a ghost town. I'm Karen McClure, and I live in Shoshone, Idaho.
I'm Joanne Marley. I came because my children all moved to Idaho.
We're not getting a lot done today, are we?
No. Okay, this one is the one I'm repairing. I've always loved quilting and fabrics, and I've been quilting since I was about 20, so 62 years. Then I lost my sight 8 years ago. I thought I would never quilt again, but I surprised myself. The one with
with the sails?
My grandfather came across from Indiana to Southern California in a covered wagon. A lot of the early quilts had a lot of small pieces in them because the pioneers saved every scrap they had. They didn't throw anything away.
Because they were so far away from their families, they were conquering the United States. They had to figure out a way to get together, to be in a group, to support each other. And they did it in quilting beads. And even the men would come to the quilting beads.
Well, I don't know why I don't sell you, but look at the money I lose. You put your foot in the bucket, kick over the stool. I swear I'm gonna swap you for a blue-nosed mule. You got to milk 'em in the morning, feed 'em, milk 'em in the evening blues.
This is Lundy Flick. He's our resident cowboy and artist and all around does everything. I'm Claudia Reese and I live right here in Shoshone, Idaho.
Pace and Reese live here in Shoshone, Idaho, and we are a mother and son duo.
We are open 7 days a week, and our store sits right on the crossroads. We have a lot of locals that come in here every day. This is a gathering place in town. The coffee pot's always on. There's always a guitar in the store where people can sit and play, or a piano. It's just a good meeting place for everyone in town besides.
In Shoshone's glory days, it was famous for ice-cold beer, long before the invention of the refrigerator. The reason is a wonder of nature, right outside of town.
My name is Fred Cheslick. You're at the Shoshone Ice Caves. It's been in my family for 60 years, and I've been here 30. I guess you could call me a desert rat. A high desert rat. We're at 4,500 feet. The ice cave, it's 20,000 years old, and in the early 1800s, they mined the ice from the caves here and hauled it all the way into town on insulated wagons and sold it to the 23 saloons on Main Street. That's part of the mystery here. You see nothing but desert, but down there's a lava tube with 20,000 tons of ice in it. We've had a few ice skating parties in here. My cousin, they took some pictures of her ice skating down here. It's about 20 feet deep. It's solid as a rock. A little ice dance here.
Route 30 follows in the tracks of the Oregon Trail from Idaho into eastern Oregon. Today it is a comfortable ride, but the pioneers could barely make 10 miles per day, often having to lower the wagons downhill with ropes. No maps existed. They had to navigate by the course of the rivers.
It's okay, Beck. Easy. Hold back, hold back. Yep. I guarantee you there were wagons crossing there in the 1850s, right on that island there. This is the Oregon Trail in the modern world. There's a bridge right there, right at the ferry crossing. Last summer, and we were so busy fixing our wagon because it broke up on feeding path. And I spent 4 months sleeping in this wagon. And at night I was sleeping, I had bags of grain and I was all wedged in. But when the wind blows, you know, it was very romantic, but it's tight. These are the original ruts of the Oregon Trail. Their oxen and their mules were digging in heavily, their wheels were digging in heavily because they have a lot of burden to pull up the hill.
My baby, my special child. Oregon was for you.
So you're a volunteer here?
Yeah. I've been a historical interpreter for probably 40 years. My wife says that I'm the only 68-year-old man that gets to play dress up. As they came across the prairies, especially in places like Nebraska, very sandy, the teams were wearing down. So that's when they started throwing things out of the wagons.
You could navigate to Oregon just by the debris field.
Right. You know, the cast iron stoves, Mom thought she needed a cast iron stove when she left Kansas or somewhere. What they would do is the store owner would sell them a cast iron stove.
Yeah.
Okay, then he would wait because he knew that they were going to throw it away. So he'd go follow the train, pick up the stove, take it back to Independence and sell it to the next wagon train.
The pioneers came from Virtue Flats behind us and crossed this plain and headed up towards the Blue Mountains. And the significance of the Elkhorn Mountains here was that they saw the snow. Even in the summer, there would be snow on the tops. And they knew, oh boy, we've got one more bad climb ahead.
Baker Valley in eastern Oregon was the first green the pioneers saw after many weeks of desert. Some years later, gold was discovered here and a town sprang up along the Oregon Trail, Baker City.
We brought the mules right down Main Street here, coming into town. And we got here after a 4-month struggle, and our wheels broke and our axles broke and all kinds of problems happened. And Baker City was our goal, and it means a lot. It's very emotional to come back here. It's where we ended our trip and proved to ourselves that we could do it.
Baker City was a fast-growing mining town. A grand hotel was built in 1889 and became known as the most lavish hotel on the Oregon Trail. The Great Depression took its toll, and before it sat abandoned for 30 years, the hotel had to weather hard times.
This was a wild place. There were bordellos after bordellos, but the one here in the hotel was much higher class. This is the historic Geyser Grand Hotel.
And it looks exactly today as it did 120 years ago. I'm Barbara Sidway. I live in historic Baker City, Oregon, and I'm also Denny's mother. Oh, that sounds silly, because you haven't met Denny yet. I'm Denny's daughter. Oh, God. Okay.
I'm Denny Gross. I'm behind the fashion. The hotel opened in 1889, and this is a Victorian outfit because I'm the tour guide here.
When this building had a demolition order issued on it, the town said, no, we're not going to lose our crown jewel. I've been doing historic preservation as my career since 1984. We came out here and we found it intriguing. You know, clearly this little town had great aspirations or was a great place once. That was clear to me when I first came in. And then the building, well, the building looked very distressed, and we just couldn't let this go down. So that's how we came to be here.
You know, I'm always asked if there's a ghost in this hotel. Well, we have a room of very partying ghosts, and they have been around for years. The bartenders down through the years have talked about them. They will hear all this laughing and ice clinking in glasses and men singing loud, profane songs, and they go in the room and open the door, and there's nobody there.
Hey, Ron, how are you? You guys having a good run today?
We're having a fabulous time, and thanks for coming to Baker City.
Have fun! Bye, kids!
The pioneers continued on the Oregon Trail through Baker Valley. For 4 months, they had weathered the heat, cholera, and people dying along the way. Now they had to master the most dangerous part of the journey, maneuvering one of the largest waterways in the country, the rapid Columbia River. The first explorers to discover that this waterway led directly into the Promised Land were the American officers Lewis and Clark. The discovery made them famous, but they were not the first ones to use it. Today, the Columbia River is the border between Oregon and Washington State.
The Columbia River is very fast moving. It wasn't dammed in those days, of course. Lots of rapids. In the early 1840s and 1850s, when the Indians were still friendly, the Indians didn't think that the pioneers were threatening them because they weren't coming in such numbers yet. The Indians would float the women and children across in canoes and swim them across on their backs.
The first comers did come into our area of Kamilpa. They were welcomed in friendship and helped along the way, fed, because they were actually really poor and hungry and scraggly looking. And our people helped them. What did you do to it?
Just did something wrong. Thank you.
I'm Brown Skojim Jr. Indian name's Yum Ticham. This area we know as Walawitis, Maryhill in Washington State.
My name is Mary Schlick. I'm sitting here at Maryhill Museum on the lawn.
Sam Hill, a rich railroad executive, built this mansion and named it Maryhill after his wife and daughter. Today, Maryhill is a museum that tells the story of those who lived here long before the New World was discovered.
In the books, they act like the Lewis and Clark were just trailblazing and cutting down trees and that. But those trails were actually old Indian highways, trails that the people traveled miles and miles to trade and whatnot. Those trails existed before they came.
They thought it was empty country to take. What we tried to do was to show what was here when Lewis and Clark came.
Mary Schlick curated an exhibition about the history and culture of the natives whose traditional homeland bordered the Columbia River. During the settlement of the West, thousands of Native Americans were dislocated, and thousands died on the way to the reservations.
We call ourselves Wanahlama, people of the river. We don't reside on the reservation. That was the refusal of the river people, was not to live on the reservation because we were not put there, intended there by our maker. We were intended to live on the big river.
Bronsko's mother had this wonderful sense of wanting to tie this place that's on their traditional land to the land itself, and she was someone I knew very well.
See, my mom, she did a lot of demonstrations here. She would do songs and dances, sharing, storytelling. So this is like, here is a way to say we're still here, the people of the Columbia River.
For the Native Americans, the Columbia River was their livelihood. When the pioneers came, they discovered the forest as a source of income. At the beginning of the 20th century, many sawmills sprung up in the area, and towns grew around them, like Klickitat in Washington.
My parents brought me here when I was 11 years old, so my father could work in the sawmill.
I worked at Janiel's Lumber Company for 25 years.
I was born here in Klickitat, right up here in 1927.
I worked at the mill for 25 years.
My wife and I moved here 15 years ago from the Portland area.
I've been here since 1935. I came as a bride.
And I fell in love with Klickitat.
Hi, I was sleeping. Your old people are allowed to do that, aren't they? So I'm an old people.
When the lumber mill started, that's what drew people here.
Yes.
I was the fourth generation in my family to work at the lumber mill.
Here in Canyon Market in Klickitat, Washington. Yes. I'm Carl Coolidge, and this is my mother.
Josephine Coolidge, and I live here in Klickitat. I just come down and help him put stuff on the shelf and go shopping and stuff.
sometimes in the wrong spots, but
He's always
she
wanted to
gets it.
have a store all his life when he lived here. So he's got it.
I'd like to introduce you to my mother. Try to get her back in here.
Oh, you've been down there, huh?
I worked 35 years in the mill till they pulled the plug and shut us down. That was my job, loading trucks and rail cars, shipping lumber out of this Klickitat sawmill. So I've seen a lot of boards go down the road over the years, you know.
I worked one summer in the mill doing maintenance work in that and pulling lumber at the final end down there.
We lived in a community that the owners of the mill furnished all our power, our water, our sewer, garbage collection. Everything we had was right here.
In the 1960s, the lumber industry started to decline. Wildlife protection played a big role. The northern spotted owl was declared endangered and its habitat shut down for logging. The end for many sawmills.
From my point of view, you know, the good Lord gave birds wings for one thing. If they can't survive here, they're going to fly over there and survive over there, you know. They don't need to be protected. And the barn owl is taking over the territory where the spotted owls were living, and they were killing their young, and you know, so they're doing more damage than the loggers ever did to the spotted owl. You know?
Today, the owls and the forests are protected, but for the Columbia River, the course was already set. Disrupted by numerous dams, it is a major power source for the area's industry. The salmon lost its habitat and the river people their livelihood. Today, only smaller branches are used for fishing. Some territories are strictly reserved for Native Americans, but it's not enough to make a living.
My name's Tony Spino. I'm from Klickitat, Washington. I'm part of the Yakima Nation tribe. This is our fishing area. The bridge is the border, so there's really not too much conflict between, you know, both groups that do fish.
I am a sports fisherman. I could show him a thing or two, though,
Yeah.
so help him catch more fish.
Yeah, but he hasn't told me that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would get a ticket, you know, if he got caught. So my dad put 20 years at the mill, and then his dad, he worked there for a little bit, and then I worked 2 summers at the mill. You know, that was right before it shut down. So it was a good experience, you know, and if it was probably still here, I probably would have been working there. I work at a landfill. As long as there's people, there's always going to be garbage, so I figured my job was pretty safe.
Hey, Tony.
How's it going? Got some fish for you.
All right, cool. Wow, what is that? Very nice. 10-pounder?
At least.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
That's super. Let us know when you get some more.
All right.
My name's Scott MacDonald, and I live in Klickitat, Washington.
And I'm Rebecca Bashar, and I live in Klickitat, Washington.
And this is our daughter, Surreal. We really felt like Klickitat would be a village if it had a cafe and a bakery. And so finally, after maybe 10 years, we decided to open it. We're artists. We really love creative energy. And so we wanted a place that was inviting to creative energy.
Well, I am a kitchen witch.
Hi, guys. Good. I am going to make you something delicious. Do you like chocolate?
Have to bring my own cup and ice because I usually forget that early in the morning, so yeah. If I don't, then Scott runs out the back door real quick and goes and gets a bag of ice. So.
Over to his store.
Yeah.
He's one of our regulars.
Yeah,
and we're one of his regulars too. So we always joke around that we should have a wooden nickel, you know, and we just pass the wooden nickel back and forth.
I still make better coffee than they do. I let them. No, they have much better coffee than I do. So.
Thank you, Cyril. That's good coffee. Our little barista. We need to keep her.
I love the mill site. I love it. So I always take my friends there. And I graffitied there when I was in like middle school.
We took them there.
Just a little bit, but it's this bad graffiti too, most of it. We need some good graffiti artists to come. That's what I always think.
You know, the question came up, do we want to be another industrial site? And we had an opportunity to do that. Or do we want to try a different path?
As far as the shadow of the mill, at some point I had this vision, have the artists come in and revitalize it. I think revitalization is what's got to happen.
You know, keeping the assets that we have, the treasure that we have, which is the river and the beautiful nature, and then trying to create opportunity that way. You can't stay an old burned out mill town. You have to actually see what the future is. And that's one of the reasons why we created the cafe, is to have like a place where people can kind of get inspired.
Drink coffee and talk about.
Yeah, because you know, coffee and revolution go together.
Mount Hood, the mighty volcano in the western part of Oregon. When the pioneers saw the snow-covered peak, they knew we're almost there. All around it, some of the most fertile land in the United States.
In order to get up here where we are, you drive through about 15,000 acres of producing commercial orchards.
Sit, 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 sit.
My name is Margaret Ewer.
My name is Eugene Ewer. I live here with my family in Mount Hood, Oregon, at the base of Mount Hood. We have spent our life growing fruit.
My name's Maren Ewer, and I was born here, and I came back as an adult to live here on the farm. My father's father built a log house that I live in. Yes! Much better. Yes! You know, just a little bit more of a desperation in that right there. So Odio, she's basically saying, oh God, I'd rather die, you know, so. So Nalani just kind of started singing pretty recently. I lived in Berlin, and I was a classical musician singer there for about 6 years. I immediately after graduating from high school went directly to a city. But I found after living in several cities that I really just wanted to come back here.
When we were really little, my dad had a strawberry patch, and that's the first thing we did is we picked strawberries. Starting when I was 5, we picked strawberries.
But I ate more than I picked.
We all did. My name's Jennifer Ewer, and I also live here at the foot of Mount Hood.
This is my sister. She's an orchardist.
I'm managing the orchard, and we grow, my father probably already told you, we grow pears and cherries, and I manage the day-to-day operations of that and the crew, and we have about 30 people working much of the time doing various projects in the orchard.
We're one of the few places left in the United States that still produces pears and apples and cherries commercially. We get an awful lot of imported fruit these days. Comes from all over the world, but we're still able to compete. Picking pears is hard work, and one year we were short of help, and I kept two of our daughters, the oldest ones, out of school, and they picked pears in our oldest orchard, which has to be picked with 12-foot ladders standing almost on the top step.
You know, there's a lot of talk about sustainable businesses, and I guess if we've been here for 100 years, we must be somewhat sustainable. So that I'm proud of that fact.
Mm-hmm.
People need to learn what work is. Many of us have forgotten in the United States what work is. We think it's being on Wall Street and playing with other people's money. And it's a lot different from that. And if we don't figure that out pretty soon, why? I have a lot of worries. This is not the country I grew up in. I like the one I grew up in a lot better.
I'm glad that I get to grow food for a living. I feel really lucky that I get to do that.
Life on the ranch is great, but some days it makes you feel like this. You just can't help it some days.
Welcome to the Northwest.
Move here. Come to stay.
It's the spirit of America. Just go, adventure. The reason will define itself if you just take the leap.